So I haven't been doing that much reading lately. Um, so I figured what better way to get myself back into this habit than to just do it on camera with some wine. So I went to Wawa and I got some Josh. Never tried Josh. Um, Heard a lot about it though, so we're gonna see how it is. Nice. Just got back from the gym too, so I am exhausted. I'm so tired. But I got my mug, my mug for the Josh. I just, please God, don't spill it. Okay, that's probably good. That's like a third of it. I think that's solid. Okay, so I've already read this book before, and I really, really liked it. It was great. I don't know. It had like it gets a lot of criticism for its kind of off-putting nature, but I really liked it. I found it really engaging. Um, I think it's pretty grounded too. Like honestly, it's a little bit. I don't want to say pessimistic. I mean, it kind of is, or at least the protagonist is. Um, and oh shit, one sec. That's
Hey, coming.
all right. One of my roommates, the goat, just brought me hot chip and protein drink. My goat, the king. Holy. So now we got some more stuff to keep us happy during this reading. Oh my God, the legend. All right, so yeah, I've read this book before. Loved it. Um, it sometimes I just want to read something that feels like it's like it. Not to say this book doesn't go anywhere. It absolutely does. It like has a great progression, but it feels very compressed. Maybe I don't know. It feels there's not really like there's one location pretty much, save for a few side locations sprinkled throughout. Like there's like some deli she goes to. She goes to her doctor's office. At one point she takes a train. She leaves. But for the most part, it's pretty claustrophobic, right? It just takes place in her apartment, and it's really just her talking about her life and the people around her and her outlook on the world. Um, I think that it's very much so just a story about a person. I don't know if that if that sounds like if that makes sense, but it really just takes this one person and it dives really really deep into them and the way that they think and how that way of thinking evolves over time. Um, and also how trying to run away from your problems or I guess in her case it's this emptiness in her life how just trying to run away from that uh, you can't do, right? There's a Joni Mitchell quote at the beginning of this book. Let me find it. If you're smart or rich or lucky, maybe you'll beat the laws of man, but the inner laws of spirit and the outer laws of nature, no man can, no man can. Um, I remembered the first time reading through this book, and I read that. Um, I wasn't really sure how to interpret it, but I think that it makes so much. It's like so. It captures the essence of this book so perfectly. We're trying to run away from your problems, trying to. All right, too much yapping. Too much yapping. I will literally yap forever before even starting this book. But this video is to start this book. I'm making this video to start this book, so I'm going to do it. Um, so yeah, I don't know how much we're going to get through. We're just going to get through as much as I can, and also I haven't really thought about if I'm going to. I'll probably make comments throughout, right, as I read through it. But y'all just let me know if you'd prefer less commentary, more commentary. I don't know how this is gonna go, and I don't really care. Honestly, I'm just chill. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I got a book, I got some wine, and I got some snacks my roommate brought me, so I'm chilling. All right. So chapter one. Whenever I woke up, night or day, I'd shuffle through the bright marble foyer of my building and go up the block and around the corner where there was a bodega that never closed. I get two large coffees with cream and six sugars each. Chug the first one in the elevator on the way back up to my apartment, then sip the second one slowly while I watched movies and ate animal crackers and took trazodone and Ambien and Nembutal. Let's look up how to pronounce that. Alright, we were right. Nembutal. Off to a great start. Let's go back to the start of that sentence. Okay, I'd get two large coffees with cream and six sugars each. Chug the first one in the elevator on the way back up to my apartment, then sip the second one slowly while I watched movies and ate animal crackers and took trazodone and Ambien and Nembutal until I fell asleep again. I lost track of time this way. Days passed. Weeks. A few months went by. When I thought of it, I ordered delivery from the Thai restaurant across the street or a tuna salad platter from the diner on the First Avenue. I'd wake up to find voice messages on my cell phone from salons or spas confirming appointments I'd booked in my sleep. I always called back to cancel, which I hated doing because I hated talking to people. Early on in this phase, I had my dirty laundry picked up and clean laundry delivered once a week. It was a comfort to me to hear the torn plastic bags rustle in the draft from the living room windows. I liked catching whiffs of the fresh laundry smell while I dozed off on the sofa, but after a while, it was too much trouble to gather up all the dirty clothes and stuff them in the laundry bag, and the sound of my own washer and dryer interfered with my sleep. So I just threw away my dirty underpants. Wow, incredible. All the old pairs reminded me of Trevor anyways. For a while, tacky lingerie from Victoria's Secret kept showing up in the mail. Frilly fuchsia and lime green thongs and teddies and baby doll nightgowns, each sealed in a clear plastic bag. I stuffed the little bags into the closet and went commando. Incredible. An occasional package from Barney's or Saks provided me with men's pajamas and other things I couldn't remember ordering. Cashmere socks, graphic t-shirts, designer jeans. I took a shower once a week at most. I stopped tweezing, stopped bleaching, stopped waxing, stopped brushing my hair, no moisturizing or exfoliating, no shaving. I left the apartment infrequently. I had all my bills in automatic payment plans. I'd already paid a year of property taxes on my apartment and on my dead parents' old house upstate. Rent money from the tenants in that house showed up in my checking account by direct deposit every month. Unemployment was rolling in as long as I made the weekly call into the automated surface and pressed 1 for yes when the robot asked me if I'd made a sincere effort to find a job. That was enough to cover the co-payments on all my prescriptions and whatever I picked up at the bodega. Plus I had investments. My dead father's financial advisor kept track of all that and sent me quarterly statements that I never read. I had plenty of money in my savings account too, enough to live on for a few years as long as I didn't do anything spectacular. On top of all this, I had a high credit limit on my Visa card. I wasn't worried about money. Yeah, she's kind of rolling in it. Mm. Ah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Kind of got a weird aftertaste though. I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it's rosé. I guess that's not surprising. And it's Josh. Shout out Josh. Let's get back to her situation. I had started hibernating as best as I could in mid-June of 2000. I was 26 years old. I watched summer die and autumn turn cold and gray through a broken slat in the blinds. My muscles withered. The sheets on my bed yellowed, although I usually fell asleep in front of the television on the sofa, which was from Pottery Barn and striped blue and white and sagging and covered in coffee and sweat stains. High-key relatable. Honestly, there was an extended period of time where I was sleeping on the couch. Granted, it was because there was like a black mold growth in my room because our roof got like demolished by a hurricane. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. But yeah. So I was down on the couch for like 9 months, but I'd already kind of started sleeping on the couch anyways. Because like I needed, it was bad. I needed some constant stimulation to fall asleep. It was weird. I'm oversharing. I don't need to overshare. All right. I didn't do much in my waking hours besides watch movies. I couldn't stand to watch regular television, especially at the beginning. TV aroused too much in me, and I get compulsive about the remote, clicking around, scoffing at everything and agitating myself. I couldn't handle it. The only news I could read were the sensational headlines on the local daily papers in my bodega. I'd quickly glance at them as I paid for my coffees. Bush versus Gore for president. Somebody important died. A child was kidnapped. A senator stole money. A famous athlete cheated on his pregnant wife. Things were happening in New York City. They always are, but none of it affected me. This was the beauty of sleep. Reality detached itself and appeared in my mind as casually as a movie or a dream. It was easy to ignore things that didn't concern me. Subway workers went on strike. A hurricane came and went. Didn't matter. Extraterrestrials could have invaded. Locusts could have swarmed. And I would have noted it, but I wouldn't have worried. When I needed more pills, I'd ventured out to the Rite Aid 3 blocks away. That was always a painful passage. Walking up First Avenue, everything made me cringe. I was like a baby being born. The air hurt, the light hurt, the details of the world seemed garish and hostile. I Oh my god, I relied on alcohol only on the days of these excursions. A shot of vodka before I went out, and walked past all the little bistros and cafes and shops I'd frequented when I was out there, pretending to live a life. Otherwise, I tried to limit myself to a 1 block radius around my apartment. Hmm. Yeah, so from the start, she's pretty closed off. Um, it's been a while since I've read this, so it's like a refresh for me. I still remember all of the plot points, but the specific writing, I didn't remember. Like I don't have this book memorized, and I think it's kind of cool going into it. I mean, with most things, right? Most media, going over it a second time, you notice so much more. Um, because the first time I read this book, I went into it like fully blind, like totally blind. And this is a crazy book to go in blind, I feel. Especially with how, I guess, unorthodox it is. It kind of makes me think of Iron Lung. Y'all like that movie? I really like that movie. The Markiplier one. Yeah, what a unit. What a unit. Oh my god. Also, like, what a crazy year. Well, that was 25, right? I think that was 25. Wait. No, was that 26? Was that this year? Let's check. Let's find out. January 30th, 2026. Yo, unreal year for movies with Iron Lung and Obsession. Oh my god. And I want to put Backrooms in that category too. But I haven't seen it. I really want to see it, but I tried to go see it at this theater out here. This like really cheap, like $6 theater. It's awesome. It's great. Um, but it was sold out, so we ended up going to see the new Scary Movie. It was pretty good. It was okay. I liked it. Like I had seen Obsession a little bit earlier, um, maybe a couple weeks earlier, and I've just been thinking about that ever since. Right? Like that's just occupied everything. What a movie. What a great movie. I've seen it twice. Yeah, but well, okay, the first time I showed up like halfway through the movie. Like I missed like half the movie. Um, it's pretty rough. I can't lie, but it was still so good. So yeah, I watched through it a second time, and it's a movie that I wish I wanted to rewatch, and I kind of do somewhat, but there's some really uncomfortable scenes in it. There's some really uncomfortable scenes in it. There's some scenes that just I can't really watch through a second time. I don't know what I mean. But they're releasing a director's cut, by the way. I don't know when it's coming out. Let's check that too. Okay. Not yet been officially released. I hope they're actually going to release it. But I'm absolutely going to watch that. The like uncut, because apparently it was going to get like an NC-17 or something, like crazy. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to this book, right? Obsession's really good though. Not just like my movie of the year, and I don't think anything's going to come out that'll beat it. Honestly, like I can't imagine a world where something comes out that I like more than Obsession. I mean that movie's occupied so much headspace for me, and I know it has for a lot of others too. It's crazy. I mean, me and my friend Aiden, we can't stop talking about it. This is Ty coming in post. I clearly can't stop talking about it here either. My god, the amount of time that I spent talking on Obsession. The men who worked at the bodega were all young Egyptians. Besides my psychiatrist, Dr. Tuttle, my friend Riva, and the doorman at my building, the Egyptians were the only people I saw on a regular basis. They're relatively handsome, a few of them more than the others. They had square jaws and manly foreheads, bold, caterpillary eyebrows, and they all looked like they had eyeliner on. There must have been half a dozen of them, brothers or cousins, I assumed. Their style deterred me. They wore soccer jerseys and leather racing jackets and gold chains with crosses and played Z100 on the radio. They had absolutely no sense of humor. When I first moved to the neighborhood, they'd been flirty, even annoyingly so, but once I'd begun shuffling in with eye boogers and scum at the corners of my mouth at odd hours, they quit trying to win my affection. You have something, the man behind the counter said one morning, gesturing to his chin with long brown fingers. I just waved my hand. There was toothpaste crusted all over my face, I discovered later. After a few months of sloppy, half-sleep patronage, the Egyptians started calling me boss and readily accepted my 50 cents when I asked for a Lucy, which I did often. I could have gone to any number of places for coffee, but I liked the bodega. It was close, and the coffee was consistently bad, and I didn't have to confront anyone ordering a brioche bun or no foam latte. No children with runny noses or Swedish au pairs. No sterilized professionals, no people on dates. The bodega coffee was working class coffee. Coffee for doormen and deliverymen and handymen and busboys and housekeepers. The air in there was heavy with the perfume of cheap cleaning detergents and mildew. I could rely on the clouded freezer full of ice cream and popsicles and plastic cups of ice. The clear plexiglass compartments above the counter were filled with gum and candy. Nothing ever changed. Cigarettes in neat rows, rolls of scratch tickets, 12 different brands of bottled water, beer, sandwich bread, a case of meats and cheeses nobody ever bought, a tray of stale Portuguese rolls, a basket of plastic wrapped fruit, a whole wall of magazines that I avoided. I didn't want to read more than newspaper headlines. I steered clear of anything that might pique my intellect or make me envious or anxious. I kept my head down. Reeve would show up at my apartment with a bottle of wine from time to time and insist on keeping me company. Company? Oh my god. I cannot read anymore. Lord. Her mother was dying of cancer. That, among many other things, made me not want to see her. See, like, I think she starts in a pretty clear place. She's very egocentric, you know? She's very, very self centered. And yet, like, it's so interesting, right? She starts in this really negative spot, you know? She has this very negative outlook, and she's just kind of not content with her life, clearly. So her solution is to just shut off everything, right? For like a reset. But you know, that's not life. You can't just cheap out. Like what the hell? But like I understand. I think that we all feel this on a micro level, right? At least at moments in time. Not to near the extreme that this is pushed, but I think it's pretty common to just wish like, oh my god, I wish I could just like disappear for some amount of time, you know? Everybody's experienced that at one point or another. Uh, I think this book really just pushes it to the extreme, you know? And it shows why at that extreme level it just doesn't work. I'm coming around to it. Does it live up to the hype? I don't know. I don't know. Was it $10 gas station wine? Yes. Was I expecting much? No. I hope y'all will be able to catch some of the cars revving down the street outside. This is not the first and will not be the last time. I don't know why they picked this street as their like street of choice. We got speed bumps down there. Like I don't know why they decide like this is what they're going to rip it down. Like come on, just go down one more street and there's no speed bumps out there. You have to watch out for like a crosswalk, but I don't know. I don't know. That went down the wrong pipe. Ugh, Lord, that kind of burned. You forgot I was coming over? Reva would ask, pushing her way past me into the living room and flipping on the lights. We talked last night, remember? I liked to call Reva just as the Ambien was kicking in, or the Solfaton, or whatever. According to her, I only ever wanted to talk about Harrison Ford or Whoopi Goldberg, which she said was fine. Last night you recounted the entire plot of Frantic, and you did the scene where they're driving in the car with the cocaine. You went on and on. Emanuele Sainer? I feel bad I can't pronounce this name. Uh, Emanuele. Yeah, that's Emanuele. I've got a friend named Emanuele. He's really cool. Just graduated. Seigneur. Signer? It looks like it's Sainer. Is amazing in that movie. That's exactly what you said last night. I was both relieved and irritated when Reva showed up, the way you'd feel if someone interrupted you in the middle of suicide. Not that what I was doing was suicide. In fact, it was the opposite of suicide. My hibernation was self-preservational. I thought that it was going to save my life. I don't know, I feel bad for Reva, just like from the start. I know that Reva's also got her, flaws that we learn about, but she's a good friend, you know? It's kind of sad being on that side. Like, I think a lot of us have also probably been on that side of a relationship, right? Or a friendship, where somebody comes to you for some particular need, maybe just biding time, or you just feel like you're the interlude, you know, you're just the purgatory, you're the midpoint from A to B, as opposed to being like one of the proper points, and valued. I think that that's a pretty common thing that people go through also. Um, so from the start, right, we're sympathizing with Riva, or is it empathizing? Man, it's so embarrassing that I still don't know which is which. I need to look this up. I can't accept that. And I've told myself and I've looked it up 1,000 times. And I just, for whatever reason, this particular pair of words, it just trips me up. I don't know why. I don't understand why. So let's look it up. Sympathy is feeling concern or pity for someone else's hardship from an outside perspective. Okay. Oh, that's when people say like, "Oh, I'm an empath." It's like they literally like feel it. Okay. The ability to step into someone else's shoes, actively share their emotions and understand their experience. So, so with empathy, is it like do you have to have experienced it, or is it literally just like the ability to put yourself in someone else's position, not through experience but just through imagination? Is that the case? But sympathy is just like being able to understand what somebody's going through and just like, I'm sorry about that. Well, then empathy. Okay. A lot of us can empathize with Riva, right? From the start, we like know what that feels like. Um, we can put ourselves in her shoes. See, we're using it. We're using the vocab. Now get in the shower, Riva would say, heading into the kitchen. I'll take out the trash. Like, come on. I think a lot of us have also had. I'm literally. I read one sentence and I'm already yapping more. Good lord. This clearly isn't going to be about the book. If y'all want more focus on the book, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to yap. We've like been in this kind of dynamic before, right? I think it's a common thing, and that means there's even more people on like the other end of that, right? I got distracted, but as I was saying, um, if there are people with the personality type that's more similar to our protagonist, I think this would be a great book for them to read too, right? I think it's always interesting when you notice traits about yourself in characters in media that you don't like. I think it's a really good way to kind of draw attention to it, acknowledge it yourself. Um, like I know that I've been there. Like I know that I've seen a lot of characters where they have certain traits or like they say certain things, and I'm like, shit, I've said that before, but I didn't realize how it comes off until I hear it come from someone else's mouth or like the general idea, right? And it's like, oh man, I was totally in the wrong there. I just didn't see it. It's just a good book overall. All right, let's get back to it. I read one sentence. I loved Riva, but I didn't like her anymore. Bro. I loved Riva, but I didn't like her anymore. We'd been friends since college, long enough that all we had left in common was our history together, a complex circuit of resentment, memory, jealousy, denial, and a few dresses I'd let Riva borrow, which she'd promised to dry clean in return but never did. She worked as an executive assistant for an insurance brokerage firm in Midtown. She was an only child, a gym rat, had a blotchy, red birthmark on her neck in the shape of Florida, a gum chewing habit that gave her TMJ, and breath that reeked of cinnamon and green apple candy. She liked to come over to my place, clear space for herself on the armchair, comment on the state of the apartment, say I looked like I'd lost more weight, and complain about work, all while refilling her wine glass after every sip. People don't understand what it's like for me, she said. They take it for granted that I'm always going to be cheerful. Meanwhile, these assholes think they can go around treating everyone below them like shit, and I'm supposed to giggle and look cute and send their faxes? Fuck them. Let them all go bald and burn in hell. Reeve was having an affair with her boss, Ken, a middle-aged man with a wife and child. She was open about her obsession with him, but she tried to hide that they were sexually involved. She once showed me a picture of him in a company brochure. Tall, big shoulders, white button-down shirt, blue tie, face so nondescript, so boring he may as well have been molded out of plastic. Reva had a thing for older men, as did I. Men our age, Reva said, were too corny, too affectionate, too needy. I could understand her disgust, but I'd never met a man like that. All the men I'd ever been with, young as well as old, had been detached and unfriendly. You're a cold fish, that's why, Reva explained. Like attracts like. As a friend, Reva was indeed corny and affectionate and needy, but she was also very secretive and occasionally very patronizing. She she couldn't or simply wouldn't understand why I wanted to sleep all the time, and she was always rubbing my nose in her moral high ground and telling me to face the music about whatever bad habit I'd been stuck on at the time. The summer I started sleeping, Reva admonished me for squandering my bikini body. Smoking kills. You should get out more. Are you getting enough protein in your diet? Etc. I'm not a baby, Reva. I'm just worried about you. Because I care. Because I love you, she'd say. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that there's validity in some of her criticisms of Reva, but largely I just don't think. I don't think she's ready for a friend like Reva, period, right? I mean, friendships are flawed, right? I think that that's pretty inherent. Like there's going to be imperfections, but Riva's not like an evil friend, and our protagonist isn't evil either. Um, I think there just needs to be some paradigm shifts, which we do end up getting, character growth, which is very important. Yeah, but I think Riva's just a friend who cares. A lot of it is pretty good advice, saying to face the music. Honestly, that's the advice that's needed and that works in these situations a lot of the time. Trying to avoid your problems are only going to prolong them, only going to delay them. Um, I mean, I'm a culprit of this too, right? I think again a lot of people are, but I can say that definitely like I try to avoid my problems. I try to put them off, try to just shut them down. It doesn't solve them. It just puts them on hold. Sometimes exacerbates them. I can't tell if it's just an incompatibility based on our protagonist's current state of mind, I guess, or maybe Riva's not approaching it right. I mean, Riva's like doing the right thing, right? Attempting to help, but I don't know. I don't think that our protagonist would ingest anything at this point. Like, I don't think she would take anything to heart. Like, everything would be interpreted negatively, because that's kind of the state that she's in. Since we met junior year, Riva could never soberly admit to any desire that was remotely uncouth. But she wasn't perfect. She's no white lily, as my mother would have said. I'd known for years that Riva was bulimic. I knew she masturbated with an electric neck massager because she was too embarrassed to buy a proper vibrator from a sex shop. I knew she was deep in debt from college and years of maxed out credit cards, and that she shoplifted testers from the beauty section of the health food store near her apartment on the Upper West Side. I'd seen the tester stickers on various items in the huge bag of makeup she carried around whenever she went. She was a slave to vanity and status, which was not unusual in a place like Manhattan, but I found her desperation especially irritating. It made it hard for me to respect her intelligence. She was so obsessed with brand names, conformity, fitting in. She made regular trips down to Chinatown for the latest knockoff designer handbags. She'd given me a Dooney and Burke wallet for Christmas once. She got us matching fake Coach key rings. There's just so much resentment with the way that the protagonist talks, right? Yeah, we're never getting through this book, by the way. Oh my God, we are, but I'm not a particularly like engaging reader either. Maybe like I just like reading, and I'm doing my best, but um, clearly I just want to yap. I got too much to say. But yeah, our protagonist really just has such a negative, pessimistic view. She's very, very critical, and a lot of the things that she's pointing out are, depending on how you view them, they could just be positive. They could just be sweet, right? She got them matching fake Coach key rings. That's sweet. That's nice. She'd given her a like she's using all of these as jabs against her, right? She got me a Dooney and Burke wallet for Christmas once. Like that's just a gift. She was obsessed with brand names, conformity, fitting in. I think that's just a function of living. A lot of people fall into that category. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it as long as that's difficult. I mean, as long as it's true to you, I think that it's fine, right? Like if you genuinely like what you end up getting involved in and it happens to be, conforming, um, I don't know. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. But if you're conforming for the sake of, conformity to fit in, to not, I guess, go against the grain or whatever, and you're not being true to yourself, you're ignoring what you actually want. No, that's bad. Ironically, her desire to be classy had always been the déclassé thorn in her side. Steady grace is not grace, I once tried to explain. Charm is not a hairstyle. You either have it or you don't. The more you try to be fashionable, the tackier you'll look. Nothing hurt Riva more than effortless beauty, like mine. When we'd watched Before Sunrise on video one day, she said, "Did you know Julie Delpy's a feminist? I wonder if that's why she's not skinnier. No way they'd cast her in this role if she were American. See how soft her arms are? No one here tolerates arm flab. Arm flab is a killer. It's like the SATs. Don't even exist if you're below 1400. Does it make you happy that Julie Delpy has arm flab?" I'd asked her. Jealousy was one thing Riva didn't seem to feel the need to hide from me. Ever since we'd formed a friendship, if I told her that something good happened, she'd whine, "No fair," often enough that it became a kind of catchphrase that she would toss off casually, her voice flat. It was an automatic response to my good grade, a new shade of lipstick, the last popsicle, my expensive haircut. No fair. I'd make my fingers like a cross and hold them out between us, as though to protect me from her envy and her wrath. I once asked her whether her jealousy had anything to do with her being Jewish, if she thought things became easier to me because I was a wasp. "It's not because I'm Jewish," I remember her saying. This was right around graduation, when I'd made the dean's list despite having skipped more than half my classes senior year, and Riva had bombed the GRE. "It's because I'm fat." She really wasn't. She was very pretty, in fact. "And I wish you'd take better care of yourself," she said, one day visiting me in my half-awake state in my apartment. "Can't do it for you, you know." "What do you like so much about Whoopi Goldberg? She's not even funny. You need to be watching movies that are going to cheer you up, like Austin Powers, or that one with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. You're like Winona Ryder from Girl Interrupted all of a sudden, but you look more like Angelina Jolie. She's blonde in that." This was how she expressed her concern for my well-being. She also didn't like the fact that I was on drugs. "You really shouldn't mix alcohol with all your medications," she said, finishing the wine. I let Riva have all the wine. In college, she called hitting the bars going to therapy. She could suck a whiskey sour down in one sip. She popped Advil between drinks. She said it kept her tolerance up. She'd probably qualify as an alcoholic, but she was right about me. I was on drugs. I took upwards of a dozen pills a day, but it was all very regulated, I thought. It was all totally above board. I just wanted to sleep all the time. I had a plan. Yeah, so this is when we find out the more specific severity of her medication use at this point. And also that one line, but it was all very regulated, I thought. She's got a really whack doctor who's clearly just yes manning her way to a paycheck, which a lot of these doctors exist in real life too. My God. I mean, I'm in college, so I know a fair few kids that are on the wilder side. Yeah, it's amazing how easily some of them can get properly prescribed these medications in large doses. It's interesting. Something to think about. But I think I'm going to call it here. We made it a whopping 12 pages in. 12 entire pages in. Um, I might record a follow up like immediately after this, but I've got 36 minutes of footage to work my way through, and that's a good level for me because I can't one take. I can't one take. I need to cut out a whole bunch of stuff because sometimes I just go on a tangent in the wrong direction, or sometimes I just stare at the camera for like 10 seconds, or sometimes I trip up over the same sentence like 3 times. So, you know what? I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it here. 12 pages, that's 12 more than I was at 36 minutes ago. Um, so, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to see how short I can get this. Peace. The wine. I let Riva have all the wine. In college, she called hitting the bars going to therapy. She could suck a whiskey sour down in one sip. She popped Advil between drinks. She said it kept her tolerance up. She'd probably qualify as an alcoholic, but she was right about me. I was on drugs. I took upwards of a dozen pills a day, but it was all very regulated, I thought. It was all totally above board. I just wanted to sleep all the time. I had a plan. Man. Okay, editor, pause. Yeah, so this is when we find out the more specific severity of her medication use at this point. And also that one line, but it was all very regulated, I thought. I mean, that was a pretty clear nod, little hint indicator that it's not. She's got a really whack um, uh, medicator. Oh my god, what the fuck do you call them? She's got a really whack doctor um, who's not okay. Oh my god, editor, cut all that last bit out. She's got a really whack doctor who's clearly just yes manning her way to a paycheck, which a lot of these doctors exist in real life too. My God, I mean, I'm in college, so I know a fair few kids that are on the wilder side, and yeah, it's amazing how easily some of them can get properly prescribed these medications in large doses. Um, it's interesting. Something to think about. Um, but I think I'm going to call it here. We made it a whopping 12 pages in. 12 entire pages in. Um, I might record a follow up like immediately after this, but I've got 36 minutes of footage to work my way through, and that's a good level for me because I can't one take. I can't one take. I need to cut out a whole bunch of stuff because sometimes I just go on a tangent in the wrong direction, or sometimes I just stare at the camera for like 10 seconds, or sometimes I trip up over the same sentence like 3 times. So, you know what? I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it here. 12 pages, that's 12 more than I was at 36 minutes ago. Um, so, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to see how short I can get this. Peace.